So, towards even bodybuilding competitions, or when we begin cutting, my students normally tell me, Anto, naninasahau vitu. Today I forgot my food at home. Anto, today I forgot my phone at home. I told you, yes. I told you, once you start depriving your body of some things, even your brain, your memory. There was a time I went to the gym. There's so much going on even behind the scenes that we do to get to this level that I am. Yeah. And I can tell you for sure it is unhealthy, it is risky. 2020, I started doing this as a professional. I started using performance enhancement drugs. Performance enhancement drugs are those drugs that help you build muscle fast. You know, bodybuilding is the response of the body towards the stress of resisting weights. So what steroids do, a normal person, their nutrition partitioning, how much they utilize the nutrition they take is at this level. For me, it's right above you.
You're using almost everything.
I'm using everything. Yeah. I am able to do nutrition partitioning very well. Very well. Every specific nutrient is broken down and used for its specific purpose 100%.
Yeah. What about someone who wants to compete, because that's something you're a professional in?
Yes.
Is there a different advice for someone who wants to start that journey into the competitive field?
Well, for those guys who wish to just begin bodybuilding for the sake of competing, I would start by teaching them patience. You have to have so much patience, because the quality of muscles that the judges look out for, it's outstanding muscle. If there's an East Africa competition, you're competing against bodybuilders from East Africa, and you want to be top 10. Can you imagine being top 10 in East Africa? How good looking do you have to be?
Yeah, next level.
Yes. So patience. So I normally tell people to take time. If you're beginning, maybe 5 to 8 years before you begin competing. I began competing on my 7th year in bodybuilding, and that was amateur. I did it like an amateur, like just winging it.
Yeah.
For the abs, if I wanted the abs, I did a lot of ab workouts. And I can tell you today, as a professional, I never do ab workouts.
Yeah.
I never do ab workouts. I quit doing ab workouts. I never do them, ever.
Explain why.
Because abs are built in the kitchen, not in the gym. Yeah. You have the abs. You only need to reveal them in the kitchen. So you get your nutrition right, they will just come out.
Yeah.
You go doing of course you'll get the core strength to do your squats. Okay, since I stopped doing ab workouts, my squats and deadlifts have dwindled a little bit. But since I came to terms with the fact that the numbers do not matter. I don't have to focus on pushing 250 kgs for the deadlift. That's not my work. I left that work for the powerlifters. Nowadays, I just do maybe one video for the gram, a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift, and that's just it. So nowadays, I just move the bodybuilding weights. If it's the deadlift, not past 160 kgs.
By the way, when he's saying this, just if you do look at his Instagram, it will still be intimidating. It's not as simple as it sounds.
It's not as simple as it sounds. True, 160 is quite heavy for a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You go look at the bodybuilder, very good, the previous champions, the guys like Dan Machiela. Go look at Richard Gitau, you see? Go look at Alpha West. Go look at their squats. Those guys just squat 3 plates. But the tempo of their movement, sometimes I am unable to go do their tempo. It's like
they control
the weight. So with bodybuilding, focus on controlling the weight and contracting the muscles. So to me, the numbers do not matter, but I still have that ego lifting part that's still left with me. That competitive side of being egoistic. So when I feel strong, I go anyway, because there's no harm in that. Yes, but for beginners, patience. Also, it is good to look for someone who is experienced in the field of competitive bodybuilding to teach you to do certain movements to activate certain muscles. Yes. Because if you don't do certain movements while positioning in certain positions, you don't get development of certain muscles. I'm talking about those small muscles that are hard to train. The teres minor, teres major, the rhomboids. They're very difficult to hit. So you have to get someone to give you the technique. Yes. Like when you come to the gym at Smart Gyms, you'll find me looking for 15 kg plates, 2 of them. I go put them on the low row machine. Because the low row machine for Smart Gyms is just like this lateral, it's horizontal. But I need to pull the weights from a position that's coming so that I can focus on those muscles. So those are techniques that you need to get. So someone asked me, why are you putting 215 kg discs? Why are you sitting on those discs that you can sit on the bench? I tell him, I am targeting specific muscles that are underdeveloped. I need them to develop. And then with bodybuilding, I tell people, there's no one right way of doing it or wrong way of doing it. As long as you're contracting your muscles, you're doing that certain movements, and of course you have that technique of working out, of targeting specific muscles. Because if I walk to the gym and tell you to do maybe something like barbell, maybe preacher curl, at some point I'll tell you to hold the bar this close. At some point I'll tell you to hold the wide grip. So the moment I tell you to hold the wide grip, even if you do it, can you do this way? You feel there's some tightness that comes. Already there's a muscle you have flexed, and you've not even begun lifting the weights. So you have shifted the focus of that weight to one end of the muscle, the longer head or the shorter head of the bicep. Even before you start lifting, you have already put some tension on it. So that end of the muscle will get tension more than the other end. So more development will be on this side than the other side. So those different grips, the normal position of the hand, the supination and the pronation, they hit different muscles. So you have to get those techniques if you are intending to compete at some point, because you don't want to develop a muscle for good 8 years and then you find like,
I missed out this.
I now have underdevelopment of maybe the tricep on the short head. Now, bro, I can tell you that will be making the judges tell you they are better men than you, and it's not so inspiring. Yes.
These are some of the I recall for me learning these small things about these small tweaks about bodybuilding is what really intrigued me about fitness. It's what kind of like sparked something new.
It's a very small shift, but it makes a very big difference.
Even just being able, I think bodybuilding, actually I've had someone say this before, where bodybuilding is the one form of fitness where it really emphasizes what you're saying you wish you could teach more of, self-awareness of your body, because you have to feel the pump in a muscle that you can't even see. And I think that really puts you in touch with your body. For me, that's where the value of bodybuilding really still helps me till today, which is being able to know, to be in touch with
with your body. Know the development of the muscles. Like now, when I walk into the locker room, from time to time, I normally do a physique check. Yes, you'll find me looking at my deltoid, I shoulder arm, I bend over and look at the development of the rear delts. Those small muscles that make a difference. And I can tell you for sure, the anterior deltoid on my right arm is more developed than the anterior deltoid on my left arm. So I have to find a way to bring this to par with the right one. So what do? Maybe I can leave out 2 reps for this one. Maybe I do 10 reps here and I do 13 reps over here. That's how you bring those muscles up to par. The underdeveloped muscle, you give it more reps, and you intentionally give lower rep range for the one that is slightly ahead. That's how you bring your body up to symmetry, proper development, and it takes a lot of patience.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good short masterclass on bodybuilding. I'm sure they can pay you for more detailed information.
Yeah, bro, they need to give me some money.
We can't give them all the secrets. You kind of touched on this already, which is what it takes to maintain a physique like yours in terms of diet and supplementation.
So the other day I was having a conversation at home, and I was telling my wife, the number of big bodybuilders who are big, lean, probably past 100 kgs, they are countable guys. Most guys past 100 kgs, they are borderline fat. And to maintain this physique, bro, it's basically lots of meat and eggs. And you can't just rule out that. I don't know how people rule out meat and eggs. Meat, it can be any kind. Like yesterday, my wife cooked me some fish. By the end of the day, I had eaten 700 grams of fish. Yes. Today, I have already taken 300 grams of beef. I have 8 eggs waiting for me. I'll eat after this. 8 eggs.
Yeah.
And then at night, I will take 300 grams of beef. So I normally target 3/4 kg of steak. Because I buy my meat in fillet, fish fillet. If it's the chicken, the drumstick thigh or the chicken breast. If it's the beef, I normally ask the one who sells, the lady who sells me at the slaughterhouse in Donyo to debone it and maybe prepare some minced meat and everything. So if it's the mbuzi, I tell the guy who prepares it for me, just make sure you dice the arms and the legs. And for the ribs, I will roast them. Don't cut them into any pieces because the ribs, once they are cut, they are boring. It's basically bones. So focus on steak and eggs. Then number 2, the supplementation. There are those essential amino acids that the body does not produce. The most important is omega-3. I do not know how much people know this, but omega-3 is the most important when it comes to the structuring your muscles. By structuring, I mean giving you that hypertrophy, development of new skeletal muscles, repair of muscles that you tore during your workout. I mean that structuring. It's like arranging your muscles. Yes? Omega-3 is the most important. If you are in a position to get maybe 700 milligrams of omega-3 and a good amount of eggs and steak in a day, you get the best muscle development. So normally I buy omega-3 from HealthU and I take one in the morning, one in the evening. Secondly, people need to know the importance of magnesium. Magnesium is a very important coenzyme. It happens to activate almost 60 reactions in the body that tend towards repair and maintenance of your muscle. 60 reactions. Yes. You see? But by reactions, I mean those that break down the proteins. They break down the amino acids.
Yeah.
Yes. Nutrition partitioning.
How we can't get magnesium in regular food?
It's not
in
enough.
a good amount?
It's not enough. 10 out of 10 people have magnesium deficiency. You have to supplement magnesium at least 500 milligrams per day. A very important coenzyme. Because you have to have coenzymes to activate the enzymes that are used to digest the food that you eat.
Yeah. So even sometimes we're eating food and we're not getting the full value of the food.
I know. I normally tell people, okay, you are eating. I can see you are eating. But are you sure you are absorbing all that food? So there's also the problem of food absorption. The number one thing that messes the absorption of food in your gut, number 1 is wheat, ngano. Number 2 is sugar, any form of sugar, processed sugar, sugar coming from fruits, sugar coming from honey, sugar coming from everything. Number 3, vegetable oils and seed oils. I mean canola oil, I mean Rina, Elianto, I mean fresh fry, all those, they really mess your gut. They really mess your gut. And I've noticed the last 2 days, I am having a very big problem with my gut when I take milk. So the other day in Vince Fitness podcast, I told you, if you drink milk and you get reactions from the milk, you are the normal person. People always rush to the hospital to treat lactose intolerance. Why are they rushing to the hospital to treat? It's only telling them, okay, you are normal. But if you drink milk and you're just okay, I tell you are abnormal. No adult should be taking milk and being like just okay, because we do not have those enzymes, or else we cannot activate them in our bodies to break the the milk, the phosphatase and the lactase, to break down the lactose, the sugar in the milk, and the phosphate and the calcium. So people always say, I want to drink so much milk so that I can build strong bones. Zero work. Waste of time. You drink milk, you piece all of it, doesn't help you. The best you can get from milk maybe it's casein. And we normally don't have so much enzyme to break even down the casein. That's why when you take milk in the evening, you always feel your gut, your stomach regurgitating and regurgitating. It's trying to digest it. And that's not a very good thing. So, like right now, I have 8 eggs and I have some brewed coffee. Brewed coffee, sugarless, no milk. That's what I'm going to eat after this, and some potatoes. Yeah. So, if you take sugar, I told the other day, a lady at the reception at the gym, if you take sugar and at some point you die, we can rule out that death as a suicide, because taking sugar is basically suicide. Every time you put sugar in your tea, that's like telling someone, just kill me. That's poison. Every time you take soda, poison. Yes. Every time you go take fruits, you are taking apples, pineapples, they're all stuck together in a, so I'm eating healthy, walking salad, around feeling so healthy. Poison.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, explain that, because I mean, how
the fructose in fruits, it's only broken down in the body by an enzyme called fructokinase. And the human body was not meant, or else it does not have that enzyme ready. When you're in your most default factory settings, when you're a baby, you don't have that enzyme in you. But now the problem is people have normalized eating fruits to the extent that their bodies have now adapted. Okay, this guy is eating fruits, and now you have to find a way to break it down. So the body learns how to build that enzyme, fructokinase, and you start breaking down the sugar in the fruits. Okay, so you break down the sugar in the fruit, it's fructose. So insulin only opens the gate to the cells for glucose only. So you now have free roaming fructose in your blood. You have glucose, you have everything, you have sucrose, you have lactose, you have taken a beer, you have maltose, you have all those sugars roaming in your blood. So every time insulin goes to your blood cells, it's like a key. When it's put in there, it opens a door on the other side. And the only molecule that can go through that into your muscles and your skeletal tissue, it's glucose. So the fructose, sucrose, lactose, maltose still roaming in your blood. You see? And at some point, your blood has to reduce the amount of sugar in it. So what does it do? Now this one goes to the liver, and the liver decides now the only option is to store this, and the body can only store 2 things: glycogen in the cells or fat. So every time you take a fruit, you become fat.
That's controversial.
Every time you take a fruit, you become fat.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Every time you take a beer, you become fat. Every time you take milk, you become fat. That's why when you are shredding for competitions, you normally drop milk. Yes. You see?
Yeah.
So you take a fruit, you become fat, and now you'll have some work. You have some to put in some work now to burn the fat, because every time the body retrieves the fat, it now converts it into glucose. So you take sucrose, lactose, maltose. It has to be stored as fat first, and then retrieved later. Now converted to glucose. So you see, that's like doing monkey business. Why don't you just avoid all those bad foods and build a muscle that has good characteristic? Yes, a muscle that already got the right nutrient, the glucose, and it burnt it so that it gave you fuel in the gym or to do your activities, and it just learned. You know, a muscle is like a student. A muscle is like a whole human being. It does a process repeatedly, it learns, and it becomes so good at it. And that's why they tell you that muscle is now matured. Yes. Because if you want it to burn fat, it will burn fat. If you want that muscle to retain some water, it will retain the water. If you want to drive out the water, it will gracefully release the water. That's a muscle that has the full characteristic of a developed muscle. Yes. Maturity.
Yeah,
yes.
That's interesting. I mean, this is the way you're describing manipulating your body.
Manipulating techniques, yes.
It's very, I think it's something that's very specific to bodybuilding.
Yes.
I don't think there's any other sport that I can think of that really goes into that level of detail of
the detail that we bodybuilders have to do, especially towards competitions. I can for sure tell you something. Bodybuilding is a very unhealthy sport.
Let's talk about that. Why would you say something like that?
Because if I want to look good, I will have to deprive my body of some nutrients or something. Maybe I'll even deprive it of salt. Remember, you did the salt so that for your coordination and passing of signals through your nerves. So towards even bodybuilding competitions, or when we begin cutting, my students normally tell me, Anto, na ninasahau vitu. Today I forgot my food at home. Anto, today I forgot my phone at home. I told you, yes. I told you, once you start depriving your body of some things, even your brain, your memory. There was a time I went to the gym. I don't know if I've ever told you that story. There's a boy, he wears some specs. I've already prepared a workout routine and a diet plan for him. He's called Omar. Very tiny boy, but nowadays he has very good muscle because I taught him how to eat. Omar was 55 kgs. By now I think he's 60 something, and I saw him the other day, he's putting some half tank tops. Has some very good developed biceps. There was a day I walked to the gym. I was calling him Mzito. Mzito ni aje? Leo uko fiti ye, unapiga nini leo Mzito? All the time I could not recall his name.
Yeah.
And that has not happened to me once. Even if I get hungry right now, I'll start losing my memory. And you can't help it. I'll come to you, look at you, look for your name. Nikuita bro. So, anytime I coach people, and even the ones I'm coaching for Kamukunji right now, I just tell them, anytime you feel something, just call me. And I really get so many calls, even at deep in the night. Deep in the night. There was one of my students, one day he called me and told me, Anto, Mimi Rosafi, I quit. I quit.
Yeah.
Because you're lethargic, you're getting into altercations with everyone, your girlfriend, you're getting into altercations with your friend. Everyone is like annoying. The body is lacking so much. It's lacking so much. It's getting so many, you're dealing with so many emotions that you're not used to. Anger. You're dealing maybe with love, and you cannot be able to process it because some centers in your brain are not getting the right nutrition. Bodybuilding, very unhealthy.
Yeah. Hey, because it's taken to the extreme. Yes. For somebody to have that, to look like that.
Yes.
And you're the best person to spread that message, because you live the lifestyle. Is there's so many ways in which people have misunderstood what's possible for that average person.
Yes.
Which is, some people are afraid of lifting because they don't want to look like a bodybuilder. First of all, calm down.
It
takes so
like
much.
That.
Yeah, it doesn't work like
doesn't work like that.
It's like, and then also there's people who oversimplify it and say, these guys just do this and this. But like we've discussed, there's so much
going on.
Yeah.
There's so much going on even behind the scenes that we do to get to this level that I am.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for sure it is unhealthy, it is risky, and it is, at some point I normally push it. The guy who called me at 1 a.m. and told me, Anto, I quit, and he wrote me a very long message. I told him it's okay. So I went to the gym the following day and found him doing the low row machine. I asked him, Zito, tuko sawa? Si game tunaenda? Tuko sawa, game tunaenda. So I normally understand it's a moment. A moment that they have been pushed to the end. I'm pushing you, I'm giving you so much stimulants to burn fat. They're giving you insomnia. All night. Seated like this, you can't sleep. All night. You can only listen to your heartbeat. All night. I remember the first time I was coached for the Pro Bodybuilding 2020. There was a time I had insomnia and I experienced paranoia. So I was listening to my heartbeat, but it was not on my chest. It was on the corner of the house. When I was looking at that corner, now the heartbeat would shift to the other corner. So I look at the other corner and shifts to the other corner. And that day I gave the guy who was coaching me a call at 2 a.m. I told him, bro, I'm quitting. Yes. The things I'm seeing here in my house is not normal. It's not normal. I went to the bedroom and asked my wife, can you hear my heartbeat? She was like, no. I go back to the sitting room and I'm like, bro, I was scared. That night I literally cried. I told my guy, I'm out, bro. I don't think I can do this. He asked me, what's wrong? I can hear my heartbeat in the house, not in my heart. You see?
Madness.
So every time I coach guys, and I am coaching guys for Kamukunji, and I'm waiting for those calls. I know they will call me and they will tell me I've quit.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that call because I've been there, I've experienced it, and I'm going down that road this year too. I will also get to some place that I will feel like quitting. But what do? You go anyway. Yes.
Again, this is only for a small percentage of us.
You go anyway. So every time, I even wrote a message to one of my students today.
Yeah.
We are doing that at a very rough diet for the next 2 months because I want him to shred. He already has the muscles, he has the cuts. Now I want him to shred so that he can reveal the muscles to the competitive level. I wrote him a message today. Bro, you're going to have very rough 2 months. You're going to have very rough 2 months. You will want to quit. And one day you will tell a story. And we will all laugh. Because those stories are normally very funny. Yeah. So when it comes to competitive bodybuilding, I think we'll have to do a whole episode for that.
Yeah.
I will bring maybe two of my mentees.
We need to hear
and then you hear their side of the story. When I tell you, they called at night and told me they were quitting. So they have to tell you what they tell us what they felt that night. Because I normally don't follow up so much. And when someone tells me he's quit, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Then we continue the next day.
So you've gone where I wanted to go next, which is the unhealthy side of bodybuilding, which is also a side that gets publicized a lot.
Yes.
A lot of bodybuilders passing on early in life, all the health complications we hear about in the media, whatnot. So because you're conscious that it's not necessarily the healthiest way, is there a way to do it healthy, or is it just what it takes to be competitive?
So, first things first, I always encourage beginners and people who are doing this as a lifestyle to continue doing what they're doing in the most healthy way, in the most ethical way, since this is a lifestyle. I want to do bodybuilding, build some muscle, look good for as long as I can look good, and be able to lift those weights for as long as I can be able to lift them without so much to lose when you do the cost benefit analysis. So it is not a destination, it is a journey. But now the problem for competitive bodybuilders, it's a destination.
It's a day.
It's a specific day. Yeah. You have a date, you have a timeline, you have your body, how you look at the moment, you have how you want it to look to be on the competitive level. So for them, it's a destination. The destination is the stage. And the problem is that now you tend to start seeking other ways of achieving that goal of being the best in that destination. And those ways are not very ethical. They are not ethical. And they are not very publicized for the safety of those who are doing it as a lifestyle. So there is a tendency to control information about performance enhancement drugs, PEDs. And it's a sensitive conversation, because if you tell people, okay, I look like this, I take this drug, and this drug to maintain my physique like this, they will want to take that drug.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And once they have it in plenty in their house, we cannot tell how much are they going to do to take it, so that they maybe they want to look like good so fast. Yeah. And maybe they do not have a background of information of the side effects of these drugs. So they do not know how to control the side effects. And secondly, they do not have the very best people teaching them how to do it. So 2020, I started doing this as a professional. I started using performance enhancement drugs. Performance enhancement drugs are those drugs that help you build muscle fast. They help increase nitrogen retention, nutrition partitioning. Nitrogen, as I tell it, nitrogen is very important. The nitrogen, nitric 3 oxide retention, it's normally retained in a form that the body can be able to take the amino acids that you're eating and be able to, okay, they say these ones, this leucine, this isoleucine, they are like partitioning them and saying this one is for this purpose. So that is what performance enhancement drugs do. they help their body achieve that desired look in a very structured way and in a very, very specific manner by nutrition partitioning. And they help you do it not easier, but faster. Yes. They include stimulants, fat-burning stimulants. We have those ones, peptides for recovery and repair of muscles. And we have the AAS, anabolic steroids. Yes. Androgenic anabolic steroids. And we also have supplements are not performance enhancement. They don't enhance your performance per se.
Not really. It's just kind of,
because you cannot supplement a trash diet and be at that level so different from other people.
But that's the thing I would love for you to demystify in a way for people, which is there's a reason someone like you is taking them. And it's not just so you can look good. Of course, looking good is one of the reasons, but it's because you have to look good by a certain time, and it's a competition.
Yes, it's a competition.
Yeah.
And we are always aiming to end in the highest, the grandest stage of them all, the Mr. Olympia.
The Olympia,
Yeah.
And there's no way you're getting there.
The journey to the Olympia, and that's why they have natural competitions. And now the open competitions, they don't tell them it's not natural. They just tell you it's open.
It's open, yeah.
Okay, if you're a natural person and you want to go to the open competitions, just go.
Try and see.
Try your luck. So, for the natural competition, let me tell you one thing. Those guys who call themselves natural bodybuilders, you've been doing this for almost a similar time, just like me. You began in 2013.
Yeah.
And for sure, I am a little bit more muscular.
Not a little. A lot.
Yeah. So, the performance enhancement drugs, I can tell you they make a lot of difference. A huge difference. And I normally do not encourage people to take them, especially people who are not past the age of 23. Yeah, I discourage them. If you're not 23 and above, I discourage you because your brain has not finished developing, and I do not want to feed your brain with different psychological perspectives. Because these drugs, let me tell you one thing. Performance enhancement drugs, steroids, some of them like trenbolone, they cross the blood-brain barrier. They now start giving you different perspectives of the world. And if a person by the age of the brain, normally the last stage of development, it's around 25 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So if someone is especially 23 and below, they do not have a very good worldview. And by worldview, I mean they do not know themselves so well and how they fit into the world and how they can interact with people. They do not have a very good perspective of that. Yes. They do not have a very good perspective of processing the emotions.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Some of them react very badly to anger. You see? Some of them do not know what love is.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them do not know how to play a role in maybe conversations. They don't know how to play their roles in maybe in certain maybe they are put in a workplace. You are put in a group and you're supposed to maybe complete certain tasks. They do not know how well to fit in teams. And I would not like to start giving people different perspectives because the steroids, they change your worldview in a very huge way.
And that's something that I don't think a lot of people know. This conversation overall, people don't know it, but then that particular one of the psychological effect of steroids.
People do not know. And that's why, and these psychological effects, they are different at different doses and the tolerance for steroids, they are different for different people. Like I have my friends who can take up to maybe, for me I can do maybe 700 mg of a very bad drug. Some friends, they tell me if I go past 300, bro, I want to fight everyone.
Roid rage.
Yes. So you have to at least, these doses, whenever I design steroid cycles for people. And every time I design a steroid cycle, I also have a very strategic diet plan that is tailored to give us maybe specific results by the end of 12 weeks. So you have to follow my diet plan, and you have to progressively load the amount of steroids you're taking per week up until once you listen to your body and you start feeling like nausea, now you're feeling sleeplessness, you're feeling lethargic, you're starting to feel angry and you're starting to respond to anger. Now, I normally tell people that's your limit.
Yeah.
Yes. Do not go past that dosage. Yes.
It's very
So every time I coach people using performance enhancement drugs, it's a very one-on-one coaching. Every time I ask a person, what week are we in? Week 14. What dosage are we in? We are 300 mgs. How are you feeling? Yes? Do you have sensitive nipples? How is your anger? How is the relationship? How is your relationship with your girlfriend at the moment? How have you felt angry? How are you reacting to anger? So I have to constantly keep helping people.
You're basically a therapist also at the same time.
Yeah. So I have to teach people how to be self-conscious, as you put it, and that's how we establish limits for everyone. So I have my database for this client, this client, this client. I know this client. I have their files from when they began, and we normally don't push past some dosages. And for me, when it comes to steroids, I normally tell people before we begin doing a cycle, we first have to have in store all the medications or maybe supplements that are supposed to counter the side effects.
For that management,
Yes. And this is a very sensitive topic. No one likes to speak about it.
Yeah.
But for me, I speak openly about it.
Yeah.
I use steroids. Probably inject some today at night. Yes.
It's not this will probably be the first time I've ever had a Kenyan athlete ever say those words.
I use steroids and I abuse them. I tolerate very high dosages, and that's why I am outstanding. You'll find I'm like 98 kgs, and you'll find I look bigger than a guy who is maybe 105 kgs.
No, it's important also because the transparency is important, especially today, because in this social media world we live in, where people are online looking perfect. And people think there's that joke where you think it's just the chicken and broccoli that's making someone look like that.
No, bro.
But it's like there's something else.
No, most of these guys out there, the YouTubers, the celebrities, those who act movies, those who guys do like boxing movies, Kina Creed.
Yeah.
Those guys who do transitions. One movie they are so thin.
Exactly.
The other movie they are so muscular.
The other movie
they are so
superheroes, fat. All the superhero movie guys. Those quick transitions they make. They are called
fake natties. Because they use these performance enhancement drugs, but they lie about it once they are maybe asked or confronted about it. Yeah. Even these YouTube celebrities like the Pandas, Mike O'Tren. He's called Mike O'Tren, not Mike O'Han.
Yeah.
We have The Rock. We have Jeff Nippard. We have all these YouTube guys who have even those who have based their YouTube career and they have grown a very big following, looking so good, while telling people to take creatine and whey protein. That's just trash, man.
Yeah, it's misleading.
For me, I normally tell people, don't take whey protein. Stop wasting your money on whey protein. If you could do it, just use that money to buy eggs,
food,
and take 15 eggs every day. Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's that aspect of bioavailability of protein and the possession of DNA. Because real food, eggs, meat, the potatoes and everything we eat, they have a DNA. So that way your body can compare the DNA, compare the instructions, be able to interpret it, and know how to use that food. Now the problem with supplements, they are artificial. They were made in the factory. They do not have DNA.
Yeah.
So at some point, supplements tend to give inflammation in the body. By inflammation, I mean the body has to throw a lot of enzymes so that it can decipher, well, it's a BCA, it's manufactured in the... So it has to like troubleshooting, throwing this. So you can imagine your stomach having so many enzymes that were thrown to digest a certain BCAA. They have not done the work, but eventually somehow the body found an enzyme that was able to break it down for absorption. So you're now left with 20 enzymes that were just there. They were just thrown there to troubleshoot and find out which kind of nutrient it is and try to. But with the real food, if you have the real food and the performance enhancement drugs, so basically what steroids do, they help your body. Bodybuilding is the response of the body towards the stress of resisting weights. So what steroids do, a normal person, their nutrition partitioning, how much they utilize the nutrition they take is at this level. For me, it's right above here.
You're using almost everything.
I'm using everything. I am able to do nutrition partitioning very well. Very well. Every specific nutrient is broken down and used for its specific purpose 100%.
Yeah.
For a normal person, maybe they can utilize it up to maybe 60% bioavailability. So basically that's what steroids do. They help the body utilize the nutrition you're taking it to adapt the body to the stress that you're giving it in the gym. So for me, if you ask me what keeps me this big, this lean, I'm ever huge, ever dry, ever lean, ever muscular, ever vascular. So number 1, I tell people, is food, workout. Number 3, steroids. Yes. I don't lie about it.
Yeah, people don't talk
Anybody
about
who feels like they want to hide their use of steroids, go ahead and hide it. For me, I speak for myself. I can never talk about another person or talk about my patients.
Yeah.
Yes. I have that like doctor-patient confidentiality. And I do not encourage people to take steroids. I do not encourage. But maybe for people who are 40 and above, I normally encourage them somehow to do hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah, because you do have that
Yes,
decrease in...
that's another podcast.
In your
hormone
hormones, especially for the older men who, and then there's that thing where the older you get, the more you're into your job, your career, your habits are not that good.
Yes.
Your hormones are like
they're
decreasing already.
Decreasing.
Your
By
testosterone.
the time someone hits 30, once you hit 30, by the time you're 34, 35, the production of testosterone now starts decreasing at a very not good rate. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean it's very. That's definitely another podcast.
That's another podcast for hormone replacement therapy and longevity. We'll do the healthy side of it.
Yeah.
But for today, we touch a little bit on the unhealthy side of it, and then we will dedicate another podcast and go a little bit deep into the detail.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll do this another time. I really appreciate the honesty. Let people know where they can find you on social media. For your services, all the stuff that you have out there. Yeah,
on social media, mostly it's Instagram. It's Gashao_Njoroge. On Twitter, it's at Anto Gashao. I don't do Facebook. And once you meet me on those platforms and you want to coaching, nutrition planning, workout planning and everything, you'll just get my contact from there. If you want that up close coaching and follow up.
Yeah, for professionals, for beginners.
For beginners, for those corporate clients. I'm also approached by corporate clients. They just tell me straight up, Anto, I am like 1 or 2 kgs and very fat. I was once 80 kgs. Can I get there in a year? I tell them yes. We can do a diet plan and a workout routine. Tell me, no, I don't mean that one. I want to be enhanced to be able to do that a little bit quick.
Oh, so even everyday people are...
They approach me, yeah.
Okay.
Because for me and guys like Richard Gitau, he talked about his use the other day, that he has nothing to hide. Yes. Yeah. There was a time he mentioned it in his Instagram stories. We don't hide it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a new day. It's a new day and it's necessary, again, because of the perception side of it. Today, with information being so available, it's helping a lot of people, and for you to share such things is so crucial.
Yes, at least I am able to provoke people to go do some further research. Because every time I post on my Twitter, like I tell people I've seen a certain steroid blend and I don't mind trying it out. The first comment that comes to, it's like, utaua engine.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, let me tell you, I've been using steroids since 2020. Yes? Yeah, 2020. And I've never went off steroids. I've been using steroids for 2 years straight. And not a single day has passed without me getting my 4 erections. Because as a man, you're supposed to get 4 erections, according to maybe 3 p.m. at noon, when you wake up, and right before you sleep.
So question, do you ever, this is maybe personal, but so how do you manage your steroid use? Because I imagine it's not something you just do freestyle, you know.
No,
you have the management, the blood work, there's that side of it too.
So what we do, let me just brief it. Just before we begin a certain steroid cycle, I have at least to know I call them the vitals. I have to know how much estrogen you have in your blood. I have to know how much DHT, the active testosterone, you have in your blood. Your age also matters a lot. Because for guys who are 30 and below, you cannot give them maybe under 500 mg of testosterone per week. They start getting those effects of low libido and all that. You'll still get your erections. It's only that you'll not feel like looking for a woman to. Yeah. So I have to be cautious. Guys 30 and below and up to 35, I normally give them a specific dosage. Also, your habits. How much do you work out? How does your diet look? Because these steroids is like giving a nitro boost. Like that one they have in vehicles when those racing vehicles.
Yeah, putting it on
it's like a nitro boost, but putting it on a human. So I have to be so conscious about your kidney function. We also have to be very cautious about your triglycerides, the LDL and the HDL. Normally people don't call that cholesterol. And there's a pseudoscience going out there. People, you tell them, I take 10 eggs. But that's too much cholesterol. I tell them, okay, the body produces like 95% of the cholesterol it has in it. And even the 95%, it does not utilize all of it. So why does the body have to absorb cholesterol from the diet? And even the one that it produces doesn't utilize all of it. So at no time, not a single day, the body will never absorb cholesterol from the diet. It already produces enough. And cholesterol is not bad. If you don't have cholesterol, you're a natty. You do it naturally. You don't use steroids.
Yeah.
If you don't have cholesterol, you don't have the testosterone. If cholesterol is to be taken from you today, you start becoming, I don't know how you'll become even. Because you'll not even have the estrogen to make you feminine.
Yeah.
Cholesterol makes every hormone in the body. All androgens in the body, they are built from cholesterol. Yes. That's the molecule that makes everything.
Yeah.
Aldosterone, very important hormone, the thyroid hormone. The thyroid hormone, it's like the CPU of all hormones. And the aldosterone. The aldosterone produced on the adrenal glands. You have to have all that science at your fingertips so that you can be able to coach people at the level that I do. Yes. So I send people, tell them, don't eat for 12 hours. Make sure you have given your blood to a hospital, a lab of your choice. I want your liver function. I want your kidney function. And I want to know how much hormones are in your body, mostly estrogen and DHT. From there, I can now tell, considering your age and these results, this is the most suitable cycle for you. You see? Now, when you take steroids, your blood sugar tends to rise automatically because you're taking every nutrient, everything. So first things first, I have to control your blood sugar. I also have to control how much water you are retaining so that you cannot get high blood pressure, because that's another side effect of steroids, high blood pressure. So there is a system that I normally manipulate. They are called ARB blockers. I will get into detail someday about them. I have to manipulate a system around your aldosterone so that your body can be, every time you start taking those drugs, you piss a lot, so that there's not so much water retained in your body. Because once water is retained in your body, now blood is moving at higher pressure. And in your glomerulus, where there is filtration of the blood in your kidneys, once they burst, you don't grow other ones. Like the liver normally regenerates, but the kidney do not regenerate. That's why you see people in their 40s, 50s, they die out of heart attack. Because once your kidneys, they malfunction, the next thing that malfunctions is your central nervous system, then your brain. You get a heart attack. So when using steroids, I normally do safe use of steroids. And even if I were to open all my files for you, there are three specific medications. Everyone that I am coaching, they have to take those medications every day in the morning. For blood sugar, they have to regulate their blood sugar throughout the day. I have to manipulate your estrogen. Now with estrogen, I normally teach people how to listen to their bodies. Sometimes you feel lousy, you don't feel like going to the gym. Sometimes too much estrogen gives you like low libido. You still get your erections, but you're not like looking forward to meet a woman. Also, when estrogen is too low, you get low libido. So you have to maintain it at a certain specific level. So if you get too much low libido during your cycle, I normally tell someone, now go and take another blood function so that we can compare the estrogen levels before you began the cycle and right now, so that we know maybe you are crashing your estrogen too much. So that you can reduce the dosage for the aromatase inhibitors. So it's a very uptight and very close.
So detailed.
So detailed,
yeah.
So detailed, and I do it so professionally that some people ask me, there was another guy I was given the other day, he told me, Anto, sitabidi jenge kabati ingine bana ya madawa kwa nyumba.
Yeah.
I told him, tafuta mbao jenga kabati.
No, it's real. Even, I mean, again, if you watch this, because the people who watch these bodybuilders and you see them with their tablets in a thing, and it's like, all
they are
compartments.
They have the magnesium here, they have the telmisartan here, they have the everything. Yeah,
it's crazy.
We have the medicine to protect your liver, the TUDCA, the NAC. We have to protect everything. So I have to know the specific side effects for a certain drug. So if you are doing a cycle that has this drug, this drug, I know the side effects are this, and this. So I have to tell you, make sure you buy this list for your liver function. Make sure you buy this vitamin B12 injectable for specific, because B12 is very important, and it's nowadays B12 is not in the soil. The GMO, the fertilizers, like food nowadays does not have B12, and everybody should be supplementing the B complex at the moment. B complex, magnesium, omega-3, zinc. Those are things that should not miss in your cabinet. Yes. Yeah. So
Anto will have to come back. At this point, you can see it's a repository of all kinds of knowledge. Asante sana.
Yeah, we can never finish this conversation.
It's never ending. But I appreciate the time you've taken today to share with us what you've shared so far. I think it's very, the transparency with which you've presented bodybuilding is very helpful. To all those people who thought that you lift a dumbbell once and you end up looking like him, I think by now you have an idea of how wrong you are about all that. I hope the information that's been shared has given you more perspective about bodybuilding, muscle growth, health, fitness. Hopefully demystified for you what it takes to live a bodybuilding lifestyle for those who might be looking into getting into it. Asante sana. Any final words?
Karibu. Yeah, for people out there maybe looking to build huge muscles, just stick to your beef and eggs. Don't do PEDs. PEDs are bad for your health.
Nice. I mean, straight from the horse's mouth. I think he's the right person to tell you such things. Asante sana. Hopefully we'll come back again now with a different topic.
I'll be here lots of time. I'll be here for Shujaa and Vince until people get to understand what's the scene of bodybuilding and everything around.
Yeah, definitely. Karibu tena. It was a pleasure. Asante. Thank you for listening to the Shujaa Fitcast. For more information and business inquiries, email us at shujaafitnesswarrior@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at Shujaa_fitness on Instagram, at Shujaa Fitness on Facebook and TikTok, and subscribe to our channel at Shujaa Fitness on YouTube. For audio versions of this podcast, check us out on Spotify, Boomplay, and Apple Podcasts. This show was recorded and produced at the Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya. Special thanks to Lucid for the background music.